Welcome to season 3 of The Grown as Women. We are so excited to welcome you in this time. This season, you're going to hear a range of conversations. You're going to hear us laughing and talking, but getting super deep. You might see some tears, some vulnerability, all the things that are associated with being grown as women. In this particular episode, we're talking about physical health as it connects to our mental health. In my own life, I'm being very vulnerable, talking about my thyroid issue, Hashimoto's, and how it is connected to ranges of depression and anxiety and even some suicidal ideations that became present. I know, right? I'm a therapist. Like, how do you have a therapist with suicidal ideations? But it is the connection between our physical health and our mental health. And here in this episode, you're going to hear my best friends talk about their own physical health issues as well. You're going to hear one of our favorites, Deana, talk about cancer. You're going to hear what it means to be a caregiver. You're going to hear about single-sided deafness, right? Have you heard that term before? But all of it connects with how we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we engage with others, and even how we engage with spirit. So come on in, listen to this particular podcast. Be sure to share it with other grown-ass women and grown-ass men in your life and the community as well. We hope that you enjoy it. And if you do, please be sure to like, to share, and if you're willing, to sponsor as well. Welcome to season 3 of Grown As Women. Oh my gosh, we are here for season 3 of the Grown As Women. Yes! Season 3! Aren't y'all excited?
We're so excited.
Oh my God, we've been doing this
it.
thing for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been friends for a long time, but we've been doing this podcast for like three seasons. How cool is that? So, guys, welcome back to season 3 of The Grown Ass Women. You know us already, right? We're going to do our quick intros and we're going to get into the convo. We're talking about some good stuff today. So you know me, Dr. P, the CEO of Onyx Therapy Group, and I'm passing the mic over to...
Double divorcee, Nikki. I'll save the rest for later.
I'm Jonai Carr, not Mars.
Like Mars bars?
Like Mars bars. The doctor, Ayana Malone.
Okay.
In the
Come on,
house.
Dr.
The
Malone.
doctor is in the house. Yes.
Deana Kennedy. I'm here.
I love it. And as always, we have to talk about our cute little clothes, right? Because that's part of the thing. Transparently, Nikki told us we were going to be wearing autumn clothes, right?
Fall, autumn, yes.
I don't even know what that
I sent
is.
a palette. I sent a color palette.
palette.
Well, maybe not to everyone. There was only one of us that needed details. I sent a color palette.
I showed up in all brown. I look nude.
And you are part of the
It's
color
very
palette.
fall-like.
But that's very
And she fits in the color palette.
Yes. You're like trees.
You fall into
and
one of my leaves.
Crunching.
I wanted to leave.
Yes. Leave.
Yeah, you fall into it.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
Fall into
Soundbite.
But it's part of our fun time getting together, paying attention to our outfits and having some good time here. So here we are with our autumn colors. Y'all want to talk about it, or y'all want to get into the combo?
Let's do a little bit of both.
Go.
I am a part of the palette. I have some leaves, some nice like evening midnight sky, whichever one, and a little bit of neutral in there.
Okay, well, I may or may not be in the palette. Depends on who's
You're in the
asking.
palette.
You are.
You're in the
Yeah.
palette.
Yeah, you
All
are.
right. Yep. I've got on my little comfy dress. I don't have on anything under it. I'm joking.
Oh,
I
yeah.
am joking.
Show me yours. I'll show you mine.
I am joking.
I
but-
definitely had to wear a bodysuit because I ain't want nothing hanging out. You know what I'm saying?
No, come on now. We're grown. We like a little wiggle.
But no, I was going for comfort, cute and comfy, and this is what I came up with. I pulled it out the closet, and I feel good. I'm happy. I tried to pull it all together with a little dark lip.
Yeah.
I've got on a little color block here with my blue shoe,
Yes.
and I'm happy.
all in the
You
palette.
look good. You look good.
Thanks.
babe.
Likewise.
When I tried to wear green, I ended up looking like a Christmas tree. It didn't work out.
I felt
Yours
like it was
look
giving a
good.
little Christmas tree
Nope.
too, but
No.
Nope.
I don't see
Nope.
Christmas.
Nope.
I don't see Christmas.
Nope.
Alright.
I don't see Christmas.
Alright.
If I came in here though, y'all would have been like, hey, let's hang out some ornaments.
Ain't an ornament on
Some
her.
tinsel.
The doctor.
Oh, I love this hat. I bought this hat last year and never wore it last year. So I said I'm going to organize around the hat. And y'all clearly know I love my animal print.
Yes.
So I was like, I'm going to lean in. I'm going to lean into the hat, which the red is part of the palette.
Yeah.
It is
And then
in
I'm
the
going to
palette.
lean in on the print because y'all know I love my animal prints.
yes, super cute.
They're
Down
all
to
neutral
my
colors.
Puma creepers down here.
Very
So,
cute. I'm
yes.
taking those. when we leave.
I'm definitely giving maple tree / Halloween.
Halloween maple tree.
Wait a minute.
Beautiful.
Definitely
The
maple
bright
tree.
orange with the
I love a
Japanese
good
maple.
pattern. I've had this dress for probably 2 years from a black-owned boutique, and I still love it. Yes.
Yes.
Cute.
It's in
So-
the palette.
It's
The
in the
reason we
palette.
talk about our clothes a bit is because it's also an expression of our personalities, right? Like you see how we show up quite differently on Grown As Women, but how we show up and express ourselves in our clothes too, right? So as you are figuring out your style or leaning into your style, make sure that you're completely authentic. Show up exactly how you want to, because that increases your confidence and it allows you to stand into your being and say the things you need to say when you need to say it, right?
Start with the palette.
Start with the palette. So, ladies, as my best friends, you know that these last couple months have been taking a sister down, right? Down, down. And for those of you all that don't know, I have been going through it. And I'm a therapist, and I have all the theories and the techniques and the interventions to use to make it through every single obstacle. But when they all happen at one time, it gets extremely complicated. During this process and earlier this year, my thyroid started to act up really bad, right? It was out of control. Sadly, I thought I could wean myself off of some medication. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Okay, my friends was in the text group like, "What, girl? You crazy as hell! Don't you can't do that." I was
Take
like, "Nah,
your
I'm
medication.
me, yo. I can do this.
No,
I can wean
take
myself
your
off."
medication.
At least bite half of it.
Yeah, take a little
She
bit.
like,
What?
I'm weaning. I'm done.
At least
On my-
lick the
on my
peel a
own.
little bit, right? Lick the peel, Nikki.
I'm a
The
different
peel,
doctor
lick
today.
the
I was
peel.
about
I'm a
to
different
say,
kind of doctor
you're not
today.
that Dr.
For
Plummer.
the record,
You're not.
I did not start the joke.
I said
Oh,
lick
okay.
the peel. I said lick the peel.
It all starts with
of-
a P.
But Dr.
Nonetheless.
Plummer, you are not that kind of doctor.
Correct.
I didn't
So
even
that
ask
is
you
not.
that.
Well,
I
I
didn't
just,
even
I
ask
just
you
wanted
that.
to bring
I
it
was
We
up.
just
talking to the
conferred
audience.
together and decided.
But I was
We
talking to
touched
the
and
audience.
agreed. You're not that
Audience.
kind of doctor.
Quiet
That
on
is
the
not
set.
your call.
That's my new thing I learned today, guys. No, but seriously, I have a thyroid issue. And come to find out in doing my research, lots of black women are being diagnosed with thyroid issues. The challenge is you generally have to ask your doctor to do the thyroid exam and run the labs, right? It's just not something that's part of the normal exam process. So what ended up happening with my thyroid, and I have Hashimoto's, is earlier this year, I just wasn't taking the thyroid seriously, right? I was like, I could just change my lifestyle. Not that that's not a viable option, but it wasn't for me. So I was like, I'm gonna change my lifestyle. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna reduce stress, all of these things. And in May, it got really scary. I took the medication and I was like, okay, I'm cool, I'm chill. You know, I started feeling like myself again. And then I was like, guess what? I'm about to have this birthday in September. I'm gonna wean myself off of the medication. Girl. So the end of September comes and my body is like, fuck you, bitch. And October hits and all the things in my life started to converge, right? Like family issues, business issues, financial things, you know, health, all of it. And I wasn't taking my medicine. And so what ended up happening, very sadly, is that I deep dived into a depression that I was not even able to recognize myself. And it was really bad. It was super scary. In one of those episodes, I randomly got in my car and drove to Nikki's house. She opened the door and I just started crying. And she was like, okay. She didn't know what was going on. She was like, okay, girl, we got you. We're going to do this. And I know this is different than how I normally show up in the world, right? I'm being super vulnerable here. But I think it's important because we don't always take our health seriously. And I'm a whole doctor, y'all, not that kind of doctor. And I was not even taking it as seriously as I needed to. And my physical health was impacting my mental health. And I couldn't think through the trials in my life because my mental health was so cloudy. So what ended up happening is I talked to my doctor. I was like, girl. She was like, girl. I was like, girl. She was like, all right. So she got me back. Right, girl. And so she started me on a particular medication at a dosage. And then over the next couple of weeks, she decreased the dosage, right? So I'm about 75 milligrams lower than I was when I started, but it's been a slow, gradual process. The reality is I may never not be able to take the medication. I may have to take the medication for the rest of my life, which was a hard pill to swallow, right? Pun intended. That's the corny side of me.
Yes.
But it was hard to acknowledge that my health was outside of what I thought I could control independently without medication, right? Humbling. It was super humbling. And so I asked the girls, hey, when we have grown as women, are you guys comfortable talking about your own physical health issues and the implications on your mental health? And some of us have physical health issues that we're dealing with daily. Some have health issues that we have dealt with in the past. Some had health issues that we're about to embark on because we can see it right now. Some of us are caregivers. Some of us are in different roles. So I asked the girls to be vulnerable right alongside with me this episode and talk about physical health and the implications on our mental health. So I'm going to leave it over to you guys. Whoever wants to start, go as vulnerable as you want or not,
But overall, it's an interesting point, right? Because I remember years ago, way before Love Bay, shout out Love Bay.
Oh boy, we knew it was coming. How many minutes into the recording?
Right, way before then. But way before then, I remember meeting a guy, and I don't even think I was 35 yet. And obviously, I'm over 40. I'm 43, and I remember him saying when he would meet women that were over 35-ish, that there was always something that they had that they were dealing with health-wise. And I'm like, what do you mean something? Like they either had, some sort of, gastric issue or knee issue, back issue. I mean, it was something, some sort of health issue. They had migraines, they had headaches. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't know him like that yet. So we're going to wait and see if we get to another date for me to divulge. Like, are you asking for my medical history and it's not sexually related? Like, what's going on here?
But is that a bad thing? I mean, we could talk about it later.
It's not. In the way that he presented it was just telling, like, this is my experiences. I'm finding that. And he said it's not that they didn't look fit, but this is just what was happening. Like, they always had something where males around the same age didn't necessarily. And I said, well, did you consider that some of these women may or may not have kids? Some of these women may have experienced certain type of traumas or health conditions. Were they athletes, where they had strain on their body at younger years that resulted in these ailments now? But for me, so eventually we kept dating, and we won't talk about where it led to after that. But
so let me grab my drink.
we kept dating, and at the time having single-sided deafness, which you all know I have, although some call it deaf. I am not deaf. Side note for the viewers in the group chat.
No, I don't need no
I
more
got
side
called
notes.
deaf. I was like, no, I can hear. I can just hear in one ear. So
I was trying to be inclusive in the
you
language.
were too inclusive. You included an ear that works.
Sorry, single-sided deafness.
It is medically called single-sided deafness. So you have no hearing. There's not a little bit. There's not a tiny bit. There's no hearing aid that's going to give you hearing. Now, you can wear hearing aids in both ears, and I have them. Sometimes I do. It just takes it and goes to the other side. But that happened when I was in college from a head injury, and the emotional strain. Like, I just get upset thinking about it of the world doesn't adjust to you. you have to adjust to the world. And little things like driving in the car and everyone is on your bad side. And or walking down the street, and if you're on my bad side, all the noise is coming in to one side, and just emotionally trying to process that. There would be times I would cry or just didn't want to go out. And obviously I'm very extroverted, and having to manage that with the migraines and things like that that come from it. But I think we just do, right? We talk about Black women and how we are so resilient. We just do. We just figure it out. So it's never been a thing where it's, oh, I can't. But to your point, you try to manage it yourself. I don't want to take medicine. I don't want to take any prescriptions. I don't want to take drugs. And then you realize, oh, I'm suffering.
Yeah.
But then being vulnerable, you get a drug.
Yeah.
It works really well. And then there was a point I was actually addicted to it because it had a narcotic in it. And my doctor was like, oh, you're running through these too fast. You're running through. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I need my prescription.
Yeah.
I remember the neurologist held up a mirror and said, look at yourself. You're about to cry because I won't give you drugs.
Yeah.
And tell me that's not an addiction.
Who was this you said?
My neurologist.
A neurologist.
Yeah,
okay.
who actually practiced or may still practice at Johns Hopkins at the time.
Okay.
And, you know, he said, look in the mirror, you're crying. I didn't say I'm not going to give you something. I won't give you the drugs,
Right.
the narcotic. And to your point, like I'm thinking, oh, well, I finally got something.
Yeah.
That felt good, so I wanted to keep taking it because it also made me a little happy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a happy drug.
It's a happy
drug. I actually don't mind going to work today. Hello, colleagues.
Hello, colleagues.
And so when I stopped taking, I was pooky, y'all. I was pooky for like 2-3 days.
Not pooky.
No, I was, because I went cold turkey.
A little too far.
No, I was in.
pooky.
Well, okay, well maybe that's extreme. It's the
With your
sweats,
ashy lips.
the sweats and the tremors. I remember he's like, here's something for nausea, here's something for this. I went cold turkey, and for 2-3 days I had sweats. I was shaking. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't hold anything down. And then I remember like having no clue to that. So yours was like, I can take myself off. Mine was like, I don't want to come off. And when I did, it's like,
But
oh
I
my
think for
gosh.
similar reasons though, right, Nick? Like I wanted to be off of the medication because I didn't want to be dependent on anything, right? But that's my own experience with trauma, right? I don't want to be dependent, right? Because if you can't get what you think you are now dependent on, then what am I supposed to do, right? So it's part of the trauma around being super independent. But in your situation, like again, you needed it until you didn't need that particular thing.
Right.
And the emotions that come along with that, which is why I think it's important for us to be talking about it, because one, many Black families are not talking about physical health issues, right? Like how many of us in this room or even in the audience really knows our full family history? Maybe we know our mother, and we're lucky if we get to know our grandparents, but we don't know like great grandparents and great great grandparents' histories. And, you know, we have to have this information, and we're trying to like navigate these lives and all those things. Like it just gets super scary. So we don't talk about physical health. And then when we do, there's all this shame that's associated with it. And oh my God, if you have to take medication, what the hell,
Like, what's
right?
wrong with
Like
you?
there's even more shame.
I felt what you wanted to say.
Yeah.
I felt it.
Right.
I did.
And then like you got to have this conversation with you. The burden of it all.
Yeah.
On the flip. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to tag into the conversation.
Yeah.
Because especially when it comes to health, as people of color, Black women specifically, it's very political when it comes to your health and the way you have to navigate health systems.
Yeah.
And the things they don't tell you, the things they do tell you that are contrary to what you see in society. You know, I think about the BMI charts where they're just like, you just off the chart. Like, well, that chart
I'm pretty
was
sure
not
all of us
designed-
over here is considered obese.
Right,
according to BMI.
exactly.
And all we got is some hips and some thighs. You know what I'm
Right. And it's
saying?
sort of like, well, your little chart is not made for everybody. Your little chart is not inclusive, right, for everyone. And then you have to either advocate for yourself, but if you don't know, you don't know, or you're just left with this gap of people telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that. Go ahead and take this medication. And you're like, but do I really
And
need
then our
to take
history with
this
with health,
medication?
right? Like you look at Henrietta Leaks, right?
You
and you're
look at
like,
Henrietta Lacks.
Sorry,
And
excuse me. I'm
no,
sorry
and
to
her
her
HeLa
family.
cells that they stole. You look at the Tuskegee experiments. I'm
Right.
going through my own thing now, and I went to my my voodoo practitioner who gave me a reading because I was like, I don't trust what the doctors are telling me.
Right.
Right. And I literally needed to go deep into the spirit realm to say, are they leaving anything out?
Right.
You know, is this clear? Is it going to change? Because I was like, I don't trust these people at Washington MedStar, Johns Hopkins, top physicians. I don't trust you. And nothing bad has ever really happened to me. It's just the generational history of knowing how the medical system has been used for oppression.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I don't believe anything you telling me.
I think also
Go
on
throw them
the-
cowrie shells
on the
and you
flip
tell me.
side, though, too, what about those who do have all the history and still don't take heed?
Yeah, true.
You
true.
know, like I've had most of my grandparents, most of my great grandparents. I know the history, and it wasn't until somebody close to me passed away that I was like, uh-oh.
Right.
You know, and even still, I don't keep up as much as I should. You know, where I should be doing something annually, I might do it every 3 years, you know, that kind of thing. So then how do we navigate that? Like, how do we stay on track with our health?
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's multiple sides to it. There are people that want to know. They want to do the right thing. They want to, even if they don't know anything, they're like, check me for all of it, like anything. And then there are those of us who know, and we're still like, I'm all right, you know.
This combo is super deep, y'all. Make sure you bring your mics in a little closer, right? So we can all hear
You all want some
everything.
help?
Yeah. You want
Help me, Mickey.
I'm
not sure how to do it.
Do you need a demonstration?
Stand
I'm just saying
by.
because I don't want any of this information to get lost. Go ahead, Deana, Diana.
No, I was going to say all of it is true. As a person who has a plethora of medical issues in the autoimmune area at a very young age, I did not know my family's health record. And once I found out, I was 26, and they were like, oh, you're too young to have cancer. You're perfectly healthy officer in the United States Army. There's no way anything is wrong with you. By the time I got out, for those who don't know, I'm a 2-time cancer survivor.
Come on now.
I had stage 4 cancer. And my oncologist said, we are going to kill you and bring you back to life.
Ooh.
He said it just like this. He said, the beautiful thing about this cancer is it's highly curable. The bad thing about it is it comes back. And he said, in about 7 years, you will probably see it again. And lo and behold, in 8 years, I saw it again. And what I did know that my grandfather died of cancer, my maternal grandfather. But what I didn't know is my paternal father and all of his brothers also had cancer. They got it after me. So I had like a perfect storm, plus whatever I was exposed to in the Army. I still love you, United States government. Just kind of made this perfect storm. I also have a condition called antiphospholipid antibody syndrome.
Come on, honorary.
Wow.
I know, right?
Honorary medical
the
doctor.
fact that
She's
you
that
know
kind of doctor.
Because,
She's
and to
kind of
that
doctor.
point, when you go in the doctor's office, you have to know. You
Yeah.
have to be able to
Yeah.
speak their language,
in there
because
with
they
your
will talk
files.
over you, and they say, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" Nothing, but I live in this body.
Right,
So I
that's
got to know
right.
what's going
That's
on with
what
this
you do for
body.
a living right
Right.
there.
That's right.
I got to know what's going on with this body. So get the second opinions. Ask the questions. Be the
right.
medical doctor. I mean, Google, verify, do all the things, because I've had doctors tell me that nothing was wrong with me when there was a disease growing inside of me that they could have done something about
That's right.
earlier in the game. So just be vigilant about your own health and know your family's history, know your history, know what you were exposed to, and ask all the people.
And
all
then
the people.
Talk to your
And
friends
in
about it.
some of the other seasons, we talked about having to have difficult conversations, and the context was around like friendships. But in these situations, we have to have these difficult conversations with our families too. Like, what actually happened to Aunt Bobby, right? Like, what actually, because all the women back in the day, they had these. They had the androgynous names. No,
Aunt Billy. Okay.
Why are you doing this right now?
Or Zammy Mandigo.
Zammy Mandigo.
Oh boy.
That's another episode. But have the difficult conversations with the family, like, yo, what actually happened to this aunt? Yo, like, what is actually going on with this uncle right now? Like, why don't people talk about this particular grandfather and the ways that he died? Because those things will affect us, right? So, yeah.
Because there's shame attached.
No, I'm saying that we should talk. We should lead the conversation. We should initiate the conversations.
We can initiate all we want. And I'll speak for my family. You can initiate all you want. That don't mean you're gonna get answers.
They go to the grave,
right?
Exactly.
And they go and
they go to the grave.
Take it to the grave, and I think because there's this shame associated so often with different diseases or responses to diseases. I don't know why, because I can't speak in that mindset, but I have absolutely seen it. My mother is diabetic. And she doesn't talk about it. It's very well controlled. She doesn't take insulin. Like, she's very active, but she doesn't talk about it.
I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. Have doctors ever said that you were pre-diabetic because of your history? And what did you do with that information?
Well, I did what I had to do, and
that
lose
sounds
weight.
like you was throwing up gang signs.
I showed up. Right? No,
Tell the doctor, no, I'm not.
Say it to my face, yo.
I did what I had to do. Right, which was become more conscious of my lifestyle.
Okay.
Right, because
But what does that actually mean? Become more conscious of our lifestyle, like
I had to lose weight.
Okay.
Purposefully.
Okay.
And keep it off, which is the ongoing challenge. That's the hard part. Think about sugar. Think about carbs. Think about all those contributing factors. And be mindful of you're this close. You're hanging on by a thread. You don't want to tip over into the world of, being diabetic. But it's not like my mom gave me tips. It's not like she said, this is what I do.
Okay.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's not this sharing. It was just like, yep, she got the sugar, and half the people in my family, they got the sugar. And you just deal with or not having the sugar. Like I remember seeing I had an uncle, cousins, they would just drink regular Pepsi. Like you would think there was not a problem. Going back to what Jonai was saying, there's just not a problem. And I'm like, am I the only one who's perhaps we should not have regular Pepsi at the Thanksgiving table? Like,
but maybe it's the things we don't like that are so minor to us, right? Like if we're running and our chest hurts for a second, how likely is it for us to then go to the doctor and say, hey, I was running, I know my heart rate was elevated, I felt a little pain, but it didn't stop me.
Right.
Right.
But what is that from?
Right. But
why do we
why
have
don't
that
we?
mindset?
Yeah, I think as we get older, though,
true.
I think we were doing more of that at a younger age. I'll speak for myself. But as I'm getting
Are you even
older,
in your 40s yet?
I am.
Oh.
I'm over.
Oh.
I'm actually over 40, y'all.
Okay.
You
She done
40 plus,
crossed
mommy.
I
over.
am 40 plus.
She crossed
I think I
over.
was
She
under
crossed
40
over.
when we started, right?
Yes,
I am
you
over
were.
40.
Now you are over.
Okay,
Okay, you
guys,
crossed
don't come
over.
for me.
Okay.
I am the baby of the group, and it's okay. And it's okay. I forgot my.
Sorry, what you were saying was talking about like when we were younger, we didn't pay attention to certain
But now as
things.
I'm getting older, it's like everything is like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like yesterday, for example, I was at work or doing something, maybe it was the day before, and I was just taking a deep breath and I felt the pain in my back. And I was like, wait a minute, like on my side. So now I'm thinking about it.
Excuse for everything. It's gas.
But it's like now I'm thinking about it and I wrote it down just in case it happens again. And now I have these notes,
That's
so
right.
I'm not gonna go over the top about that today. But if
Right.
it happens again next week, then we might
I think
have a
that's
problem.
such a great tip, Jay. Have the actual note, like, and we all have phones, right?
Yeah,
Like we
that's
have
true.
we have our devices, and you could just have a section in your notes specifically on health and track that. And it's not crazy to do that because when we go to the doctor's office, they say, well, when did this start? How long have you been feeling it? What is the intensity? And oftentimes we push it to the back of our mind unless we have notes because we have life that we has to go on every moment.
And I also love the idea of our friend group. I mean, not the idea, but our friend group, because we do talk about a lot of things. And so we are intentional about checking in on that person. True. You may never say it again, but I didn't forget that you said this, so I might come and check on you.
That's right.
And it's the same way with my wife at home. She has a couple of issues, and I'm used to checking in on her and not necessarily considering myself. So then I think she kind of was like, yeah, I did that. But what about your legs? You said your legs were hurting. Did you go check on that? You know, and so now even if I don't go get it looked at today, if I say something to her about her stuff, she's going to say something to me about something that I said. And we're going to keep going back and forth about it. It's a trigger. And so now it just causes you to be, more conscious of the things that are going on with your body. And so
that's right.
Let somebody know.
That's right.
Is my point.
Which is what you mentioned, the friend group. I'm glad that you have that with your wife, but the friend, that's what this grown ass woman is about, right? Like having these grown ass conversations and how your friends help you stay accountable,
Get your heavy flows checked.
We don't get back to menopause.
Diana, there was a couple of things she was about to say. I ain't had a cycle since I let them remove this uterus.
Get your heavy flows checked.
I wear white bathing suits every time I want to.
I want to talk about it because I want mine forcibly removed, and they won't.
What'd you say?
I want a voluntary hysterectomy. Why can't I just get a voluntary hysterectomy?
I think you should.
They said no.
Why?
Because they were like, that is unnecessary.
What you say?
Medical
My homegirls don't have cycles no more.
But it's not necessary. I'm not about to have a baby at my age. Why do I need this?
I don't know why.
Why am I still
It's a lot of
suffering?
hormones you're gonna wish you had.
Well, not from the uterus. Not from the uterus specifically, though. From your ovaries. Absolutely.
Because I think about this, someone at work, I won't be specific. We were having a meeting. There were beads of sweat running down this poor lady's forehead. The COO, who's a man, was like, let me go get you a fan. They got a fan placed in front. She took off her jacket. She was sitting in just her little shell. And I was just like, I don't want that life. And you feel so bad. You're not staring. You're trying not to bring attention to it. But at the same time, it's like, are we just not going to talk about her having this hot flash in the middle of
But having a hysterectomy isn't going to remove the hot flashes per se unless you get a full hysterectomy.
It will
make you feel better.
It will jumpstart the process instead of me looking at this like long, slow slide into terror.
Or you just want to hold one.
I don't slow slide.
Yeah, it's still long and slow.
Well, I don't want the long, slow slide into terror.
Since 2017, I ran to get the fan, okay? Because I know I'm a sweat at some point.
Ayana said, give me the whole, not the half.
Right.
Yeah. just let's go with
take
all
the
of
ovaries
it.
out while you're at it.
Yes.
Get your heavy flows
Just looking
checked.
at her, you just like waving your hand like, girl.
No, but I keep saying get your heavy flows checks for a reason. I've found, especially in your 40s, when you did not have heavy flows on your cycle and you notice, like, man, I'm having a day or two that's having, but it could also be fibroids and something else.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that was something.
And that's something major for Black
right,
women.
it is. And I didn't even know that was a thing until, to your point, having conversations with friends and having friends go through it. And sometimes that is the trigger.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know what? I thought this was just normal because as you change through life, from when you first have your cycle, it just changes, right? And so it just may be that way. And I'm thinking, like you said, D, oh, it could just be towards the end. And now I'm like, no, nope. When's the appointment? Who's available next week? I don't care. Just give me somebody I can look.
Which is a great point, Nick, because it's not a health. It's not always health specific, right? Like that. This means that you have fibroids. But let's talk about what it means to be over 40. Now that everybody in the group is over 40.
We talking about what it means to be overweight. I don't know. Like it.
Okay.
Okay.
I was trying to be serious, guys.
Sorry.
All right.
Take 5.
All right. Now that all of us are over 40, what does it mean to just have your body change in general, right? So you may have a heavier flow. It may or may not be associated with a fibroid. Definitely get it checked out. But just being over 40 in general and how our bodies change, physical health, right? There's times when I'm like looking at myself, I'm like, this ain't something different around these parts. You know what I mean? I be sitting looking at my phone like I gotta put it out a little further. You know?
Don't get me started with
do I bring it? You gotta change. One time I had the screen, I guess, open, and the kids were like, "Dang!" You know?
That's a big
so
letters.
big,
That's
right?
a big print. That's a big font.
Teach me how to make mine bigger.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I am ready.
Or just like our hearing, right? Like you're like, what you say?
We have to talk about.
Seriously.
To talk about. Listen, I keep saying
Or even
pain.
your vaginal health.
No, that's fine.
Oh.
After my what was it? My
It's
last
okay if
birthday
it's a dap instead
in
of a wop.
October. Dancing, had a great time, getting it in. I am choosing to ignore. Getting it in. I laid down. My body.
Oh, are you talking about at your birthday?
On fire from the hip flexor down. I'm like, oh man, I tried to fight it because I'm tired. It's like 2 in the morning. I got some Aleve. I said, okay, it's probably inflammation. Then the Naproxen will help. I got some Aleve. And eventually, it took the edge off. I went to sleep. But the next morning,
Woke up worse.
right. So I'm like,
It's all day.
and walk. We get out the car for Winegate, which is a whole nother podcast.
Oh,
Right, a whole
Winegate
nother
for
Winegate.
Ayana's
Winegate,
birthday.
yes.
And
Winegate.
so sitting in a vehicle, a luxury vehicle at that, so it's very comfortable.
With heated seats.
But then having to get out, I'm like, I just need
I
a
was like, you want
second.
the heat on?
That was
Yeah.
kind of a good decision.
I was like, I just needed a second.
Right.
And then almost being trapped in a trauma,
Yes.
trauma triggering vehicle.
It was the moment
Trauma
that you like
triggering
were
truck.
bent over and trying to like stretch at the
So
same
to give
time.
context, right? You have to give the context. For Dr. Malone's birthday, the day after my birthday, we were going on what we thought to believe in an amazing wine tour, which did end up being amazing.
It ended, but not with them.
Not
No.
right.
We went
But
to a
the
storefront.
transportation
Yeah,
provided
storefront.
We went to Total Wine and More.
was probably the size of this space for what? For 20 people?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I had a fight or flight emotional moment, and it was flight because all my life I had.
I think it's so interesting because I think I am on an opposite trajectory of many people that I know in that I feel like I look better as I get
Yes, come
older.
on, Benjamin
Because
Button.
I'm telling you, when I was busting in high school, y'all, it was a mess. And now it's the opposite. So I'm on Facebook like, ooh, I'm cute. What happened to y'all? What happened to y'all? But it still has that impact of, you know, that mental health impact,
Yeah,
right? In terms of I look better, I feel better. You know, I am more fit than I was when I was younger. And at the same time, I'm like, man, this is too bad that I couldn't have been like this.
Yeah.
When youth, like, we just don't even understand how important
But maybe
youth
it's not
is.
bad, Dr. Malone. Maybe like maybe it's positive, right? Because it keeps us like engaged and increases our longevity. If we had to, I mean, because you see some of them people, they had it when they were younger.
They had it when
and
they
they ain't
were
got
younger.
nothing now.
Let
We
me
giving
tell-
Let me
ashes.
tell
You
y'all
hear what
something
I'm
so
saying?
funny, something super funny, and it happened again the other day. People, every time someone sees me from the past, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look the exact same." Like I have looked like this since I was a baby.
Not a baby.
And I'm like, I don't even know, but I don't even know how to take it because I'm like, I was
It's a
looking
compliment.
old.
It's a
No,
compliment.
I
yeah,
was looking
compliment.
super
Old
old.
at 22.
I was looking so old when I was younger.
Well, you
Until
don't look
somebody
old now.
says,
No.
"Oh, I
I
didn't
guess so, it
recognize
worked
you,"
out, right?
and in your mind, I'm like,
But I ran into a friend from high school in 7-Eleven the other day, and she said, "Dang, you look exactly the same." And I thought it was so funny because everybody says that. I mean, it's just super
That's a
random because it just
compliment,
happened.
though. Yeah.
I know, but I know I looked like an adult when I was.
that's
On the
what
flip,
You were the
on the
10-year-old
flip
adult.
side, I
Oh,
be seeing
10-year-old
people and they be
adult.
like similar to Dr. Malone, and they be like, "Oh my God, you look so
much
better." And I
Oh,
be
they
like, "I
say
will
that?
fight you. Like I will fight
And I'm
you
like,
right here in the
wow,
streets."
I was
okay?
really busted back
Right,
then.
and then they be like this.
Like, my
I was
God.
not
Ooh.
busted. I was not busted then. I was fortunate. I was just narrow, but not busted.
Never narrow.
I
Yeah,
feel
was
like
narrow.
What were you going to say,
yeah,
Deana?
yeah. Let's go on.
Oh God, I don't even
How
know.
does your
There were
mic
a
in
lot
your
of
boobs?
thoughts.
That thing is like, that thing is I'm like, how did that thing get down there?
you know,
That
I
is
do-
nice.
I do want to talk about something while
Mind
you
drop.
are remembering, because that comes with being in our 40s
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
right? Like
Forget
these
everything.
fleeting
Oh,
thoughts at
forget
different points.
everything.
I mentioned it quite lightly, and you guys don't have to go deep unless you want to. But in our 40s, we also have health changes around our vagina.
Mm-hmm.
As I was trying to think of another word to say, or some of the words I don't
It's got
really
better
like.
with
as-
Yes, Zombie Mandingo.
That
Uh-huh.
around your Zammy
Listen,
Mandingo.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Zammy.
Oh, around your
Zammy
Zammy
Mandingo.
Mandingo. Around your Zammy Mandingo. But, you know, that also messes with your mental health, right? If you was a chick that was, you was drip dropping, you know what I'm saying?
Drip.
You
Oh,
was
Lord.
like,
Drop.
ah,
Drippity
right?
drop.
Like, don't come for me. I have to wear these panties. Okay.
Buckle up, boys.
Right.
Or
Or girls.
And guys, this is for you to hear too. So
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I was like, let's
Especially
learn
for
your
our
women.
guys,
men over
because we
40.
know
Learn
we
your
have quite a
women.
few guys who are listening in, you know, and sometimes guys could shame a girl for feeling a certain kind of way. You know, we don't, side note, we don't have no medicine that be helping us the way that it be helping y'all when y'all got ED. So,
Soundbite.
Stand by.
Too far, too fast. We don't, but we don't, right?
We
Because
don't, no.
the truth of the matter
I mean, on
is,
Instagram, they're coming up with some stuff.
are they?
Yeah, on the
The little
gram.
jelly?
On the gram,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know if it's FDA
That little
approved.
sticky.
I don't know if it's FDA
thing.
approved, but they trying.
I want it to be
I don't
FDA.
want
But you
that.
know what?
I
But
don't
sometimes the
want-
FDA be leaving
don't
us
do it.
out
I'm
because
good.
Cheetos are killing us. Okay, like all right.
Oh, gosh.
But the point that I wanted to make is like, as your physical body changes, including your vaginal wetness, and it's not a physical health issue, so there may not be medication associated with it, and yet it affects your mental health, right? If you are used to being the drip droppy girl, and all of a sudden it's taking a
Glad you
little
looked at
bit
me.
more effort to
Mhm.
get things looser,
Mhm.
Not
it
that
messes
part,
with your
though.
mental health, right?
Yeah.
Like, because you have created an identity around your drip droppy experience,
Mhm.
and now it ain't drip droppy. It's,
Drip.
you know what? I'm gonna
It's
stop.
just
Can
dry-
somebody else go
Oh,
ahead?
It's
It
dry,
drip.
dry
It
dropping.
drip.
You
It
dry
drip.
dropping.
It
Dry
drip, but it
dropping.
don't drop. It drip, but it don't drop.
but it don't
It's
drop.
dropping.
It doesn't. It's a little loose.
Uh-huh.
The
But
point I'm
can
making
I
is
bring
physical health and
society
mental health.
back into it again?
Yes,
Because
go.
part of it is we are taught to value certain things, especially health wise in our society. We're taught to value thinness, so on and so forth. And you just think about WAP.
Uh-huh.
Right, and I got that water and like all of that, and so if you don't
I
conform,
cannot.
That Baltimore
yeah,
accent came
yeah,
out.
you got that
Yeah.
water,
That
Like, you
water.
got all, and so then you're just thinking of yourself as less than when you don't fit that
Right.
standard. When honestly, you check in with a whole lot of people across
Yeah.
the board.
People be lying.
People be lying.
I mean,
They
because there would not be a
lying.
whole lubricant industry if everybody was
Exactly.
whoppy, as they said.
Correct.
Correct.
Like,
I
don't
wouldn't
buy
know.
into that. Don't buy into the fact that you're supposed to
Neither
stand
might
up
y'all.
and you leave a wet spot on sitting on D's couch.
Uh-oh.
Like,
Oh, I
that's
thought
not
we
real
sitting on
life.
D's lap.
Yeah. It's
What
not
I
real
will
life.
say as the menopausal woman in the group is that I find that my body is much more connected to my mind. now.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
back in the day,
I
gotta
if
actually
I
like
think
you.
about it might drip down my leg.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't like the way he blinked his eyes, so I'm over it. And
gotta
the body will not respond.
Yeah.
I gotta like you for real. I gotta really like you. You gotta be smart. You also gotta be smart.
You gotta be on 10.
Uh-huh.
You gotta cook breakfast
What
too.
you filed on your taxes
Correct.
last year?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Because that's going to get me
Are
going.
you using
Yeah.
Sensodyne yet?
I do.
Oh, boy. She
I
went
like
from 25 to 65. You using Sensodyne?
I do.
I do.
Y'all
I
using
do.
Sensodyne?
I like it
do.
hard, so I need to, when you do stuff hard, it scrapes the enamel. When it wears your enamel. down.
Okay.
enamel.
Okay. No, I just have really.
happened
I
just
have
now?
really sensitive teeth.
It's that
I have
erosion
sensitive
from
teeth.
Right.
On the inside,
The acid,
baby, not
the acid,
It's the inside.
the
The
proteins and the
Hold it
acids.
in there too
The
long.
Eat
enzymes
healthy.
and proteins.
Swallow or spit.
That's for our male readers.
too
Eat
much
healthy.
protein.
But seriously, like, talk to us, talk to the audience, talk to just us. Like, how does this affect your mental health? Like, we're keying about it, right? But that's
Yeah.
because we're us. We're us, right? Like, we have these conversations
Yeah.
all the time. But for people who are not having conversations like this with their homegirls or their homeboys, like, I mean, I know that my health stuff is humbling for me. I am like super independent. I could manage it all. I could do it all. There's
Your
a
wife
remedy
is
for
also
everything.
very direct and will tell you.
I mean, we're not talking about her right now, are
Okay.
we?
I
That's
think
like
too. I do. I
direct.
mean, speaking
I looked
of
at her a little funny
wives,
this
I think
morning.
it's super important to, if you're in a relationship, to be with somebody that you're comfortable with and can be vulnerable with, and so you all can have those conversations, and then also navigate how to produce or whatever it is. So you have to
I
be
need a drip
able.
drop, so you
Yeah.
drip like
Yes.
this.
And you have. I think
And
once
we gonna
you're.
start calling you Drip Drop D. Changing your name in my phone.
You know, there
Drip,
used to be a
drippity
brand
drop.
called oh shoot, I forgot it. Drip D or a Filthy D or something like that. Anyway, what I was
Diana.
I'm gonna remember it.
Dirty
Yeah.
Diana. Dirty Diana.
What I was going to say is that I think what it did for me is it brought my body in alignment with my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we, one, have that from the beginning, then we always dripping. Or if we learn that we didn't always have that and we start to think about what we really like, because as women, let's not act like we haven't. We endure things in the sexual realm
It was
that
the way you said endure. I just
Yeah.
had images
Right, you
of
felt it,
bad
right?
moments.
Yeah.
That's not always good. We don't always like it, but we just be taking it like, ugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the neck.
Okay.
In the neck
Ooh,
for
how
me.
long?
This almost.
And so when
it
you
almost
when your body aligns with your mind, you probably, you pick differently. You look more you give more scrutiny to things. But it's been an overall pleasant experience because when I'm with someone, I'm really with them. Like my mind is engaged. I'm not fantasizing about something different.
Yeah.
I'm communicating what I want and my body is responding. If I
Yeah.
stop doing that, my body is like, hold up, girl, we don't like this. Tell them.
Yeah.
Slight.
Tell them.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Tell them we don't like
Flag on the
this.
play moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what about a quickie? A quickie doesn't pull in the conversation, right? So you're saying it
Oh,
has
But
to
a
be
quickie
thrown
is
in
already here. You
Yeah.
are already in the
Yeah.
mental state that I
And you're-
want
and
this,
you're
I
already-
like
that's
this,
all-
and this
that's
is
all-
going to be
That's already
good.
your
Yeah.
person. That's
Plus,
already
Yeah.
your
the quickie ain't
person,
always
so.
emotional. The quickie is sometimes just purely
already- it's
biological.
already love
like,
based.
you just
Mhm.
you need to just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
But I want to go back to the mental health piece and take it out of the context of myself. Like seeing my mother age is very hard for me.
Yeah.
Like my mom,
Same.
super active, could go and go and go. That's where I get my go and go and go. And now seeing her where she cannot anymore, I think it brings this sense of mortality, right? And when you think about declining health and when it comes with age, like it's not always in the context of yourself, but also seeing, your parents, grandparents, whoever not being able to do what they used to do or not being able to see or hear like they used to see and hear. I be hollering at my mom because she can't hear what I'm saying. And I'm like,
And what your
this
son be
is so
saying,
weird.
It's too loud.
Yeah, it's too loud. Why are you yelling? I'm like, 'cause you can't hear if you don't yell, right? And so it's a hard thing to witness. It's a hard thing to watch, especially if you had parents who were healthy, right? And it's just naturally aging. I'm like, yeah, if
And
you've
they
been
still
on
might
this
be
earth for
healthy.
70 plus years, stuff gonna break down. Like, it just makes sense. And now she got a knee brace and, all of these things. And so I think also seeing how age takes a toll and knowing we will eventually be there is a little, it makes your heart hurt.
Is it taking a hold of her as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think she sees how much she's not able to do that she was able to do in the past. You know, she was the woman, she'd walk 5 miles a day. And she still probably walks about 2 miles a day, but it's not 5.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not what it was. You know, I'm concerned about her driving. You know, and I'm just sort of like, should you be driving? Don't drive in the dark. You know, and that is upsetting for her. I absolutely can tell.
I think that talking about it from the mental health perspective, that becomes upsetting for us too, though, right? Like, because they can't show up for us the way that we always thought that they were going to show up for us, or show up for the next generation the same way. My grandmother recently passed in September, and I remember teasing when she was younger and we were in California. She'd be like, I don't drive at night and I don't get on the freeway. And I was like, you such an old lady. And now it'd be like nighttime. And I'd be like, I don't think I want to drive out there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm only 40-something years old, but it plays on you because I'm like, well, can I go to this event? Am I going to have a good time? How am I going to get home? Like, things, I get anxious about it, like things that I would never have thought about in my 20s and 30s. But because I'm in my 40s and my body is changing in ways of, you know, diagnostic ways and non-diagnostic ways, it changes how I engage with life and subsequently how I engage with myself. And again, it becomes a mental health thing that we don't always talk about, except for now, right?
Yeah,
That
I was going to
eyesight
say,
thing.
oh, I'm sorry.
I got you. Eyesight and
That I give myself a lot of grace now. I used to be able to run constantly. I used to be able to do very different things. But I've learned to give myself grace that, you know, you're not able to do this right now. And this is your body right now. And for me, regardless of what's happening to my ancestors, because of my medical issues, my body has taken a different toll than my family has. So I don't have a representation of what I might look like when I am in my 80s. I have to say, this is my body. I still love it. It may not be able to run this 5 miles, but I'm going to still give it grace, and I'm going to do this little speed walk.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
be happy about it.
B, that's a good point there. What I heard you say is because of some of my physical health issues, I have to give myself grace that I'm not even going to perform at what I thought I was going to perform at this age, which isn't even old. Right. Like, it's
even
just,
based on my family members,
right.
what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
I have an 80-year-old who drives to all her little church engagements. My Aunt Audrey, the one that sings, y'all. She's 84. She's like, no, I'm going to choir with my church. I love her. I may not be that way. I may not be that way, and I have to accept that and not push my body to things that's outside of their realm because of what it's been through, and love it for what it is. And that is totally mental, because my body's doing what it does, but my mind is like, no, you're only 43. You better run this 7 miles. No, I'm a speed walk.
That's right. That's right. Jay, you were going to mention something about eyesight.
Yeah. I should have on glasses right now. Like,
Me too. Me too.
like in this moment, like I should have on glasses, right?
too.
And I do like glasses. But one thing that I've considered is that the glasses that I have need to be of the highest of quality. Not the frames, but the lenses, right? And I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Like, I can't just buy just the regular lenses. I need the glare stuff. I need the this and that. And that is really
Progressive.
hurting my soul. Yes.
Tell me about it.
I need my glasses, but now I have to take them off when I'm driving if the lights are too bright on the road. And I was like,
the headlights are blurry.
Yes.
The blurry.
Yes.
A whole nother item to add. I thought blue screen or blue
And I'm
block.
like,
oh,
wow.
another one. I was like, dang.
Oh, you mean I
All of
gotta
it.
spend some more money?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
These were
And that is,
$7.
yeah,
My
that
bill
is
is
hurting.
100.
That is hurting my soul right now, and it's scary to me. Now I'm saying, okay, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have immaculate degeneration. I'm gonna have. It's really getting to me.
Right.
As I still don't have on my glasses, right?
Right.
We're
That's
also
another-
exposed to a lot more than our ancestors were.
Yeah.
The computers, the
Right.
air
That part.
quality,
Yeah.
the
That part.
food,
The food.
all of the
That
things that are
part.
making our bodies
That
change
part.
the way they are. We
Yeah.
can't use that as a baseline.
Yeah,
Right.
it's so scary though, because I see my eyesight deteriorating. I just got new glasses, a new prescription, and I feel like I need a newer one. I really do. Like, these aren't working.
You know what? that was one of the symptoms that was, so not that I'm putting this on you and I hope it's not the case, but that was one of the symptoms that I had associated with my thyroid that I didn't pay attention to. I was like, I can't see the way I used to. And I thought it was just because I was getting older. I get to the doctor, they put me on a medication, all of a sudden I can see again. I was like, wait, what is happening?
I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna bring it up in my notes.
See, put it in your notes. Put it in your notes. Man. No, but I'm serious though. I'm serious. And because thyroid issues are coming at higher rates for Black women, and the mental health connected to your thyroid is extreme. With hyperthyroid or hypothyroid, there's a mental health component. It is either going to produce depression or it's going to produce anxiety. And in some situations, if it's not regulated, it can cause an onset of bipolar disorder, which you can't actually get rid of. You know what I mean? Like you can manage in different kind of ways, but our doctors don't normally test for thyroid. You have to ask for a specific test, right? So there's many issues, right? Like many things that you're hearing in the conversation today about testing for, different antibodies in your body, not letting your age prevent them from testing you for cancer, paying attention to your thyroid, paying attention to your eyesight, paying attention to your hearing, paying attention to your family, paying attention to the sugar.
Pay attention to the sugar.
Well,
and your high blood pressure.
When you said it at first, you said sugar. But I think we're supposed to say sugar.
It's the sugar.
Okay.
It's
the sugar.
The sugar.
She been a doctor, y'all. Say it again, doctor. The sugar. Okay, we got to pay attention. We got to pay attention to the sugar.
The sugar.
And the heart. What's the high? How do Black people talk about high blood pressure?
Pressure.
Okay, pay attention to your sugar and the pressure. Pay attention to your sugar and the pressure. And your thyroid and your WAP. Or, whatever else.
Dry drop or drip drop.
Your dry, not your dry drop.
That's when your drip drop dries up. It's now dry drop.
Oh, y'all, do you hear how much fun we are having? Side note, we are about to do our first media presentation. By the time this podcast drops, we would have already done our first media presentation, right? That we're going to be doing for Afro magazine on Monday at 11. Mm-hmm. So Grown Ass Woman is taking it out to the streets.
All right.
Okay. So make sure you catch us on Afro. But we're about to wrap up. Tell them what you want to tell them, right? Is there any last minute tips? Is there anything to consider? What are y'all thinking?
I'll go back to.
Yeah, you start because Nikki, her face was looking a little devilish.
She giving
Nikki. She's
giving
Nikki.
She's
giving Nikki.
You're a little drippy.
You swimming, Nick?
Oh yeah, swimming in the drip drop.
I would say back to my earlier comment is to just take notes. It could be that simple sometimes. Take your notes if you feel something that's out of the ordinary, or even if it is, something that you experience quite often, take your notes. Mm-hmm. If you have friends that you can be vulnerable with, make sure you just say it, even if it's just casually, like, oh, my left eye socket hurts, or whatever it is. Just say it. Just say it. I am lucky to be in this group because we all kind of manage each other. Yeah. We will check in on each other about something that you said 5 weeks ago, so.
And that people be trying not to talk about anymore, right?
Correct.
I won't look anywhere.
You looked right in my face.
I wanted to look at Ayana. But I was also going to look at Ayana.
It's probably all of us, right?
It's this corner right here.
I'm looking at what we are. Sending my energy out.
Y'all better be ready for the text messages that come after this. Because the Virgo in me has some things, cataloged.
You guys are getting the mild. I don't know which camera to look at because it's a rack of them in here, y'all. Rack of cameras in this joint.
Okay. I keep glancing. I'm like, I don't know where to look. I'm gonna look straight ahead. I just look straight ahead.
Okay. Is this one right here? Hey, y'all.
Okay. That one's for you. No.
Oh, me? Oh, gosh.
Hey, y'all better keep this. Don't edit it out, man.
But yeah,
keep your notes.
Keep your notes. Talk to your friends. And I what we didn't talk about, and we can talk about it somehow in another conversation. I have ADHD that I learned about, I do in recent years. And we can talk about that later. And so, y'all keep me together. I know LaNail knows about it. I don't know if anybody else knows. Dee knows too. So I know LaNail talks to me sometimes how I need to be spoken to so that I'm reeled in, okay? But yeah, keep your notes. Talk to your friends. Be vulnerable if you can. I think times are so different now that, you know, everybody's going through something and we're all learning. So just, you know, speak on it.
Yeah. My non-blood sister self-diagnoses me with ADHD. I don't think that's
You want a
necessarily
pill?
kind. but you know what? I think the non-blood sister thing might feed into friendships and things we'll talk about later. Did you want a quote?
Well,
I
I
don't
want to say
know.
one
Nope.
thing.
I want to stay serious for a little bit longer, Nikki.
Yes.
I think we probably have about 3 more minutes.
Advocate.
Okay.
You know, Black women historically accept pain, tolerate pain at much higher levels, and we're perceived.
Wait, hold on. That was so serious, but I had to look at Nikki when you said it because she was like, accept pain, and Nikki, you know, should be. Never mind. Okay.
Not that
It
kind
was
of
me?
pain.
Okay.
I mean, we are very much perceived as we can handle it, we can deal with it, we can deal with the burdens. So we're not taken as seriously in medical spaces when we're like, this hurts. You know, if you get to the point, if you are in a hospital saying this hurts, it probably hurts a lot. And it's very easy for someone to just dismiss you. It wasn't until I went to the ER twice in a row, and it was the second doctor, who is a woman, who gave me a CT scan that made the difference. But the first doctor sent me home and was like, let us know when you're feeling better. You have to advocate for yourself. Ask for the CT scan. Like Dee said, be on the Googles and the WebMDs, like, because you need to know what you're feeling, even if you're wrong, to get the treatment that you need.
I want to pause right there
fight.
real quick, though. Don't just be on the Googles and the WebMDs, right? Because sometimes people will diaggnose themselves and take it way too far.
Don't take it too far, but take it to a doctor.
Take it to a
and
doctor.
let the doctor tell you you've taken it too far.
Okay, perfect.
But don't let the doctor dismiss whatever you're saying might be a problem.
True.
So one thing to your point, I dated a nurse, and it was during the point I was going through chemo, and he said, you have a high tolerance for pain. He said, if you feel a 4, tell them 7. And I was like, what? He was like, tell them 7, because they won't respond to you like you need to be responded to because of what you consider actual pain. And I also wanted to say is, know your body. I told you I had antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, which is basically a blood disease which makes my blood clot. And I have had 2 blood clots. I had a funny feeling in my elbow. And I went to the emergency room, and I had a blood clot in my lung.
What? So you felt it in your elbow,
I felt it
but it was
in my
in your
elbow,
lung.
and it was kind of radiating up my arm. And I went to the ER, and I had a blood clot in my lung that could have killed me. So know your body. If you're feeling funny, if you're nervous, even if you got to go sit in that ER and tell them it's 7-level pain so they will see you, do that just to be sure that there's nothing, you know, that you don't know that's going on to be diagnosed properly.
And because of the healthcare industry that we're working with, I would say it's a 10, right?
Correct.
Say it's a 10 because a 7, you know, everybody has their biases when it comes to Black women, right? So if you say it's a 7 in their mind, they may think, she can manage that. You know what I'm saying? Like, say it's a 10, so you can at least get the attention that you need.
Yeah.
And then ask for forgiveness from God later. Go ahead, Nikki.
So, tip of the day. Am I looking at the right camera? Okay. Tip of the day. Queefing is not a dry drop.
Why?
Okay.
Why, Lord?
Not a dry drop?
It is
what?
not. Queefing is not for our younger viewers.
That's your
that
friend.
still
Don't look at me. That's
examine-
your friend.
Brought her
examining
here.
themselves.
Who brought her here?
And
Since
you
we talk
was
about
worried
drip
about
drop
our
and dry
gear.
drop.
Right.
Know the difference between a dry drop and a queef.
Wait a minute, what's a dry drop, Nick?
We don't want to know.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm concerned. How do you be dry
I
drop?
don't have personal experience with that.
Okay.
We can't even.
I just want to make sure that
She
our
should-
viewers.
She's still 19 down there.
So listen, you have come
to the
and
doctor.
seen episode 1 of season 3 of Grown Ass Women, and it was wild, right? I'm sure you're like, what? What is a queef?
We're not gonna get no sponsorship.
I was gonna say,
We don't get no
Everybody
sponsorship.
know what a queef is?
Yes. We don't.
Queefing.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I was about.
I don't know if
It's
we
when
can
it's
define
time.
it
What
though,
did it
but we
sound?
know.
No, it's when it's talking.
I don't want to.
It is when it's talking. It is when it's talking.
Back. It's when it's
We
talking
need
back.
no sound effects.
Yeah, we need.
And
no
we need
sound effects.
Listen,
sponsorship.
your mic is
Please
already
give it.
down
Please
low.
sponsorship. I
Your
mean,
mic is trying to get the queef and drip
So,
already.
again,
That
I'm
thing has
trying-
been
I'm
working
trying
its
to
way
get-
down.
As long as they can
With
hear
these
me.
If that is
grown-ass
not a
women.
determination as a
Thank
mic,
you for
sorry.
coming in for season 3 and episode 1 of Grown Ass Women. And if you haven't watched our episodes before, please make sure you go back and watch season 1 and season 2. We've had a wonderful journey so far. In this particular episode, we're really excited that you joined us as we talked about our physical health issues and how they have connected to our mental health issues, and also the ways that we see ourselves and the ways that we see others as well, right? Are the ways that we engage with others. So make sure that you are paying attention to this particular episode, sharing it with the grown-ass women that are in your life, sharing it with the grown-ass men that are in your life, sharing it with the community, because the more that we know, the better that we can do, right? Last thing, again, remember that we are going to check us out so that you can see us on Afro Magazine, where we are talking about seasonal affective disorder and all the things that affect grown-ass people when the seasons change, as well as engaging with our families during the particular holidays, right? So make sure you keep your health in mind, your physical and your mental health in mind as well, and follow us for the next episode. Oh, wait. Did you think it was going to end like that? We need sponsors. You got some money? Give it to us. Okay?
And then we'll
that
do
girl
creepy
good.
noises.
That girl good, y'all. She does not have a teleprompt. There is no teleprompt here. I'm sitting over here like,
Give it to us.
We want your money. All right. See you later.
all right.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.